My name is Haruki. I was raised by a father who could neither hear nor speak. But despite what the world saw as his shortcomings, to me, he was everything. Our life was simple, like a bird that flies in the morning and returns in the evening. My father worked tirelessly, delivering newspapers at dawn and serving food at a night market stall. He changed jobs often, not because he wanted to, but because the world wasn't kind to men like him. Still, his smile never faded. It was a smile that could warm even the coldest of nights, a smile that made people around him feel at ease. But more than anything, he was my strength. I became his ears and his voice every time he needed. When I turned 7, my father insisted on sending me to school, but I refused. I cried all night, not because I didn't want to learn, but because I knew how hard he worked just to keep food on the table. I didn't want to be another burden on his already weary shoulders. But he wouldn't give up. He signed to me, pleading with his tired hands, his eyes filled with silent determination. And when his smile faltered just for a second, I knew I had to agree. I had never seen him without a smile before. The next morning, he presented me with a neatly folded uniform, a brand new school bag, and shoes that still smelled of fresh leather. He had saved every penny just for this. I hugged him tightly, tears wetting his shirt. He was everything to me. The first day of school was magical. New faces, new voices, new experiences. After school, my father picked me up at the school gate with his usual bright smile, his hands signing excitedly as he asked about my day. And every evening, before heading to the night market for work, he would take me to our favorite roadside store. We would share a simple meal, laughing through gestures and expressions, as if our life had no hardships at all. One morning, the sky roared with thunder and the rain poured heavily. I was running late for school. My father, worried that I would get drenched, hesitated. For the first time, he couldn't take me himself. Instead, he humbly asked our neighbor for help and pressed some crumpled bills into his hand for the fare. As I rode away, I turned back to see my father standing in the rain, his expression unreadable. My heart ached. He looked guilty, as if he had failed me. That day, I made a silent promise. One day, I will make sure my father never has to worry again. I will work hard. I will succeed. I will take care of him the way he has taken care of me. The school bell rang, signaling the end of the day. Like always, I ran to the gate, eager to see his face, to tell him about my day. But he wasn't there. I waited. Minutes turned to hours. I told myself he was just running late, maybe held up at work, but something felt wrong. My father was never late. Not once. I decided to walk home alone. The streets felt longer, darker, emptier without him beside me. I passed our usual roadside stall, expecting to see him waiting there, but there was no sign of him. When I reached home, the room was empty. His shoes weren't at the door. His bag wasn't in its usual place. I ran to the neighbors, desperation clawing at my throat. "Have you seen my father?" I asked, my voice trembling. They shook their heads. The last time they saw him was in the morning when he left to deliver newspapers. Panic gripped me. My father never went anywhere without telling me. Never. The kind uncle next door helped me file a missing person report, but the police told us we had to wait 24 hours. 24 hours. 24 hours of silence. 24 hours of fear. 24 hours without my father. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering where he had gone, wondering if he was cold, if he was hungry, if he was safe. I clutched his old work jacket in my arms and cried myself to sleep. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. But my father never came home. The police searched, but there were no answers, no clues, just a void where he once was. I lived with the kind neighbors who took me in, but nothing felt right. The world lost its colors, the laughter we shared, the quiet conversations through our hands, the warmth of his presence, all of it was gone. But I never stopped waiting. Every morning, I stared at the doorway, hoping he would walk in. Every evening, I passed by our favorite stall, hoping to see him sitting there. Every night, I prayed to God to bring him back to me, but silence was my only answer. Dad, if you can hear me, if somehow, somewhere, you can still see me, I want you to know something. I never stopped looking for you. I never stopped waiting. You were my world, Dad. You still are. I keep our memories alive in my heart. The way you smiled, the way you signed I love you before bed, the way you made the world beautiful even when we had nothing. You were never broken. You were never lacking. You were the best father I could have ever asked for. And I miss you. If you have someone in your life who loves you without condition, who sacrifices for you, who gives everything just to see you happy, please, don't wait to tell them how much they mean to you. Life is unpredictable, time is cruel, and sometimes the people we love the most can disappear without warning. So, love them, cherish them, show them that they are seen, that they are valued, because one day you might wake up and they'll be gone.